This year's already been rough to say the least. We got Redfall, Gollum, People Fucking Bears, and Baldur's Gate 3.
It will be untamed, vigorous, and, well, large.
It's time to stop!
All within the span of 2023. It's a real weird time for sure. Thankfully, I'm pretty insulated from most of that. I don't play bad games, and I have a social life, so I don't have time for Baldur's Gate 3. However, Metal Gear Solid has some controversy surrounding it at the moment, and there was no way I wasn't gonna look. So this past week, we got some more information on the Metal Gear Solid Collection. We now know that it's releasing on both the PS4 and 5, the Xbox Series X, and the Switch. Now, it is locked to 60 frames per second on Xbox and PlayStation, but 30 frames per second on the Switch, and people are really upset about that. Like, they are up in arms about the 30 frames per second cap on the Switch. Now, me personally, I don't see an issue with the Switch version being locked to 30 frames.
Boo this man!
And I'll tell you why. For one, I know for fact none of you were counting frames when you first played the games. Absolutely not a single one of you. Back then, most PlayStation games were like 30. Second, Metal Gear Solid isn't the only game on Switch that's been capped at 30 frames per second. Dark Souls Remastered also has this issue. Now yes, it was a big deal back then too, but the game plays fine. In fact, it was my first Dark Souls experience, to be honest with you, and I thought it was great. Now yeah, I get it, Metal Gear Solid games are all really old, you could argue this should be easier, and yeah, that is a valid argument, I don't really have an answer to that. But it's also entirely possible that some sort of software issue with the porting is stopping them from doing that. I'm not a game developer, I don't know, I don't have the answers. But I am saying it is a possibility. And as far as Konami wanting to release a quote-unquote subpar product for the market, realistically, if you look at all the other ports that the Switch has got, they're all capped at 30 frames per second as well. So it's not unreasonable for Konami to have assumed, oh, maybe no one will really notice or care. Me personally, I'm going to be buying it on the PC because I don't have a Switch, and if I did, I wouldn't play it because I have a PC. Now, the second reason people are up in arms is that Metal Gear Solid is getting a content warning. Yes, that's right. In the collection, they are putting a content warning that reads, "This game contains expressions and themes which may be considered outdated. However, these elements have been included without alteration to preserve the historical context in which the game was made and the creator's original vision. Player discretion is advised." The thing is, I understand a bit of the discontent with this because I can't literally think of one single thing that needs to be censored or excused. Perhaps, maybe, the Playboy magazine item. Some of the swimsuit pictures in the lockers in MGS2.
What do you think you're doing, Snake? You don't have enough to keep you busy? Try to remember the mission if you can.
Or maybe being able to stare at Eva's chest in Snake Eater. But either way, Metal Gear Solid is possibly one of the most left-leaning game series out there. You could wear the pride flag as camouflage in Snake Eater, and don't forget this gem either.
I'm prepared to face the consequences of my betrayal.
What are you... What the...
You're a man?
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, that grab might be it. But we'll have to wait for release to find out for sure. Me personally, I'm just happy that Metal Gear Solid is getting the glow up it needs. For over a decade, we've been waiting for Metal Gear Solid titles to be accessible on current hardware. And at the end of the day, I could just say, use an emulator, it's not hard. But not everybody has the experience or, let's face it, the intelligence to use one. And while emulation does help preserve the franchise, one thing it doesn't do is bring a new generation of fans into the fold. I'm willing to bet anybody watching this video who is under the age of 20 has either never used an emulator in their life or they don't use it often. Probably because they don't have a reason. I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels like it's mostly us boomers who use them. In any case, I think the kids deserve the same chance at discovering Metal Gear Solid like we all did. You have to remember that what sells games nowadays is watching other people play them. That's right, rich, talentless hacks playing video games for 8 hours a day. That's what sells video games now. Therefore, having a current release is important. It's the closest we can really get to Blockbuster nowadays, just without inevitably losing your rental. Besides, you've been watching this entire video in 30 frames per second. Did you ever notice it? If you did, you likely aren't going to play the games on Switch anyways. Like I said, I myself am playing it on PC. I'm sure you probably will too, or on a console of your choosing. And if you didn't notice that it was in 30 frames per second, you have to like and subscribe. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Anyway, just a quick video to make my opinion known. And if you want to see more 30 frames per second Metal Gear Solid 2, go watch my video about Metal Gear Solid 2. You'll probably like it. Anyways, take care, brush your hair. This is Snail, and I'm out of here.